Clermont County, for some reason, has two clerk of courts, a municipal clerk of courts and a common pleas clerk of courts. Hamilton County, for example, only has one. In Clermont County, the reason we have two is because of a political accommodation that was to evade two Republicans needing to go for the same seat. So it was separated out. Gene Schmidt was involved, and ever since, the taxpayers of Clermont County have been paying for two clerk of courts when we used to only have one. The last time the municipal clerk of courts was elected was in November of 2021. And it was a three-way race of Tim Rudd, Paul Kamphaus, and Ralph Waldo. Paul Kamphaus ultimately very narrowly prevailed over Tim Rudd. By the way, if there had been a follow-up runoff election, I don't know who would have won, because I don't believe anybody had an outright majority of the vote. It was because you had three people running, the person with the largest plurality got elected. So at the time of this election, there were some hot button topics. For example, we have a completely antiquated case management system. A lot of things are hidden from the public. It doesn't work right a lot of the times. If you've ever tried to go into the case management system for municipal, if you accidentally click on the attorney link, for example, you'll be perpetually in a circle where it makes you put in a password. If you go to the public link that doesn't require a password, you'll find that a lot of times documents don't render correctly. If you click on them to see them, it's a mess. We also don't, in Clermont County, we're so antiquated, we don't have online case origination. We don't have online filing. We're still living in a world of physically dropping off documents or fax machines for documents in Clermont County. It's absolutely pathetic. So Paul Kamphaus won the race, and I believe took office in January of 2022. It's been 22, 23, 3 full years, and I don't think anything's really changed. I don't think anything's been improved of any notable consequence. I believe taking credit cards was something done under Tim Rudd when he was clerk of court. So I don't think anything's changed. I don't think, to this day, I ran into this recently, there's no way to run a docket report to see what hearings are on a given day on our system. You still have the same issues of a lot of the documents when you click on the icons to see a document, it doesn't work right. And I have no idea what the plan is for getting to a better, more modern case management system. But what I wanted to do is take some clips from a candidate forum that was done by the chamber when the chamber cared about this kind of stuff versus that they only care about protecting politicians. This candidate forum was largely protecting them because it was done on Zoom and the questions were all micromanaged by Andrew McAfee. And so a lot of questions never got asked that should have got asked. But this is a set of excerpts from that candidate forum. The first one's going to be Tim Rudd talking about the case management system and the need for a new case management system. Remember, this is in 2021.
The major challenge moving forward for the court system is the implementation of the new case management system. Once again, we go back to the new case management system that we're going to get. In the new case management systems that we're looking at, it actually will use an OCR search. So if somebody is looking for Second Amendment and that exists in the document, those documents can be pulled up. Right now, we just have static images.
The second one is going to be a clip of Paul Kamphaus, who ultimately won the election, talking about what the attributes are, one of them being transparency. Well, I don't believe Paul Kamphaus has been to a single Republican Central Committee meeting since he was elected. When I've asked him, he refuses to have an interview. He refuses to talk about anything. So he's the antithesis to transparency. By the way, Paul Kamphaus is another one of these double dippers. He gets a pension while also collecting a salary. So the biggest benefit to his election that I've seen so far is that he makes a lot of money off of it.
What one personal characteristic do you think makes a good clerk?
As a public servant, the three characteristics that you have to have are honesty, integrity, and transparency.
Then there's a quick discussion of the need for two clerks. That's the third clip you're going to see. So Ralph Waldo is the only one in this candidate forum that spoke of potentially getting rid of the extra taxpayer burden of two clerks. Both Tim Rudd and Paul Kamphaus, I don't think want to do that because they want to make money off this deal.
Does Clermont County need 2 clerks?
So the legislature says that's the way it should be done. In Clermont County, that's the way it's done.
I do believe, once elected, that you could work with the legislators and analyze that and determine if it can effectively and efficiently be done with one clerk.
Then there's a clip of referencing protection of public money as being one of the things that Paul Kamphaus was interested in. I'd love to know how he's done that. Has he reduced the cost? One of the things is if we would go to a more modern docketing system, allow online case origination and online filing, we could eliminate a lot of positions in the clerk's office because it would all be automated. You know, and there's many counties today that have it all automated.
When I'm in that office, politics will no longer be involved in it. Unfortunately, in order to get into the office, you have to run for the office in a political environment. So, once I'm there, I'll be the best protector of the public money, efficient way of running that office, just like I did at the sheriff's office, and keeping the public's interest in that system at the forefront of what I do.
So the fifth clip is them talking about term limits. And just by the way, these conservative Republicans, not a one of them is for term limits. The funny part about it is that, Paul Kamphaus says he's not for term limits, but he never bothers to ponder that one of the reasons for term limits, especially when you have a 6-year term, is new blood brings new ideas. And we've all seen this. You need to have transformation in the office holder because you want to have constant innovation. And any of us, if we're in a certain position for so long, we inherently become less innovative. And so that's what's happened in a lot of our positions when you have elected officials that won't leave.
I don't really see the need in a nonpartisan position like this for term limits. No.
And then there's discussion of Paul Kamphaus at the end. The sixth clip is Paul Kamphaus saying that he can make it better. We want to make it better.
It could be better. All public records should be accessible easily from the clerk's office. That are public records. There are some that are not. But it would be a focus of mine to make sure that if someone wanted to search a database for how the judges are ruling in certain areas, Second Amendment, issues like that they should be able to search that. That's going to take a searchable database that has to be electronic. So that would be my intent to making it more transparent.
But I don't know how it's become better. I tried to have an interview with Paul Kamphaus. I asked him for an interview to talk about how it's become better, but he won't do it. Okay, I guess he's too busy cashing his taxpayer subsidized pension check and his taxpayer paid salary check to be held back by having to actually answer questions or give an update 3 years into his term. So he's had 22, 23, 24, 3 years into his term, halfway on his 6-year term, as to what exactly has he done to modernize the system, to move towards online origination, online filing, to reduce costs. What has he done? Or to enhance even the docketing system so that, for example, if I want to find out what cases are before Nathan Little on a given day, I can go do that. I can't do that on the system. Most systems I've seen in other places have a capability to do that. We don't. I think Paul Kamphaus needs to answer questions, needs to talk about his achievements, and needs to make the case. He's had 3 years. Okay, we can go on one. Obviously, he's made a lot of money in this, but what has he done to modernize the office?
Kamphaus?
Let me thank the chamber and the Clermont Sun again for hosting. Wasn't as bad as I thought. So when this came available and I was thinking about entering this race, I'm going to go big picture here. The men and women in law enforcement aren't the current problem with the criminal justice system. I think Clermont County has a very strong prosecutor, very strong judges, but the system itself is starting to have a back end problem where we're getting prosecutors and judges that aren't supporting law enforcement. And I thought to myself, where can I help the system? This came available and I said, I can either complain about it or I can do something about it. And I decided I was going to try and do something about it, throw my name in the race and try and make it better. It'll be my intention to bring the same skills that I had at the sheriff's office as a public agency that was serving the public to the office of the clerk and help support the citizens and the law enforcement community of this county to make the court system better and more supportive. And that's the reason I'm running. And again, thanks for hosting and have a good night.